I am Supreme, and today's Astro Oracle investigation will be on Cajairah Fraise, who was a 22-year-old woman who went missing from Beaumont, California, February the 23rd, 2023, while she was 9 months pregnant. She was last seen walking away from a Jack in the Box drive-through and has not been seen since. Jack in the Box is a restaurant. She was with her parents when they stopped for food, and she asked to get out of the car to get some air. Her parents drove forward to pay, and when they looked back, she was gone. She was last seen wearing a black jacket and gray sweatpants. Her phone, wallet, and other personal belongings were left behind in the vehicle, in her parents' vehicle. What happened to Cajairah Fraise? She was later seen, upon the investigation, she was later seen on surveillance footage in the parking lot nearby, close to like a school. But that was and she was walking south from Jack in the Box, south away from Jack in the Box. So I'm going to conduct this Astro Oracle investigation a little different, just from a different angle, but the same investigation. I'm going to use my OG, my Astro Oracle deck. Okay, this deck assists me in a lot of very, because this case is going to be kind of, I'm not even going to say difficult because I'm a high-ranking Oracle, but the type of information that I need to tap into, this deck is going to let me know everything. And it goes hand in hand with the charts because this is the Astro Oracle. You're about to witness a high-ranking Astro Oracle investigation. Okay, I am a high-ranking Astro Oracle psychic. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I drop my investigations. Okay, so I'm going to be pulling 4 of these cards. I have tapped into Cajairah Fraise's energy, and I will be pulling 4 cards, and I will be opening up her birth chart, the day she was born, where the planets were aligned, and where the planets were aligned the day she disappeared. Okay, and we're going to get down to the bottom of what happened to Cajairah Fraise. Not a lot of information on this case. Not a lot of information on this case. But we're going to break this case right now, today. It was also said that that day, her and her mother hung out. They went to like a gym, fitness place, something like that. And then they went to go grab a bite to eat, which they was at Jack in the Box. And it was also said that her parents were in an argument, which is why Cajairah told them she's going to get out and go for a walk to get some air. We don't know what that argument was about. Some stated that Cajairah was upset, and that's why she got out. We don't know. But we do know that she was seen on surveillance walking in the parking lot over where they said she went missing. Close by where they said she went missing. So, what happened to Cajairah Fraise, who was born January the 14th, 2001, who disappeared from Beaumont, California, February the 23rd, 2023. What happened to Cajairah Fraise? She was 9 months pregnant. She has not reached out to any of her family because we know if she's still living, she went into labor. She has a baby. We don't know what happened, but we're going to find out. Also, did I give a shout out to Cheyenne for suggesting this reading? I appreciate you, Cheyenne. I appreciate all of my subscribers and viewers for suggesting content, because it helps me build my resume. So all of my videos and readings are like my resume. So I want to expose this hidden sorcery, where you get answers from the source. That's what sorcery is. But the main thing is, this is a hidden science. And the main goal is to expose it. We're at a time and an era where everything in the physical world has reached its highest level of abuse, especially authority. The abuse of authority. Like, people are so much in their feelings in the world. There's so much racism, so much hate, so much discrimination, and it has reached the levels of authority. It's always been an authority, but it's like now, there are no answers. People help you when they want to. Nobody really does their job because that's their job to do. It's all about, well, I'm not going to help you because I just don't want to help you. You're not my people. You don't look like me. You don't sound like me. You're not from where I'm from. And I don't care if they're paying me to help you and your family with this investigation. If I don't like you, I don't like you. So, I mean, and that's not always the case, but that is a popular case. So, with all of this discrimination and racism going on, some cases are not getting as much attention as others. What I do is I expose this hidden science because it still exists. Okay, it didn't go nowhere. There's a history of them trying to kill all of these people off that did all of this, and I don't understand why. But this generation that's rising, and I'm part of it, we are built to do what we do. So, I mean, there's so much power and magic behind what we do, especially if you are a real one. We're at a day and age now where our vibrations are so high. Like, when you are real at what you do, keep doing what you do, especially when you are doing something spiritual, bringing something spiritual into the physical realm to help the greater good. I promise you're protected. Okay? Nobody can rise up against you because you have spirits that are actually helping you. You have people that will literally drop dead in every attempt that they make to come for you in any form or fashion. You have people that get sick just by the thought of trying to come for you, especially when you are doing the work for the greater good, using spiritual work to serve the greater good in the physical realm. I don't know why I said that, but that is the truth, and it was meant for me to say that. Somebody's watching me right now. You need to know this. So, you either are somebody that is very in tune with the spirit realm, or you are either somebody that's trying to attack somebody that's highly in tune with the spirit realm. And I advise you, if you are that person, I advise you to step back from whoever you are trying to rise up against, because you will not win. Because what will take care of you is something that you won't see coming. It's not something you can touch, but it is definitely something that will grow in you, in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. And it will consume you. It will literally paralyze every aspect of your being that wants to come for what I call the chosen. So I would leave that fire alone. And if you are somebody who's in tune with the spirit realm, keep doing what you're doing. They can't touch us like they think they can. Keep doing what you're doing. Especially when you are tapping into souls. Because you're even receiving assistance from souls. You got to realize, when you're helping souls, people are protecting you. Because what you're doing is going to get reached out to their families. If I was dead on the other side and I knew that somebody has an outlet in this physical realm where I'm able to use what they have to speak to my relatives so I can get justice, whoever I see coming for that individual, because you remember, I'm in the spirit realm, so I see everything. Soon as I see people trying to come for this individual that's helping me reach out to my family, I'm going to destroy those individuals because they can't see me. They can't stop me. Because they're trying to come for somebody that's clearly a chosen vessel. Something told me to go heavy into that. I'm going to pull these 4 cards. All right. Now, these 4 cards that were pulled, you have the Aquarian, this Aquarius thing, which is a friendship or a stranger. Okay. This can also be a gang-related incident as well. All right. But whatever charts get pulled is going to elaborate on this Aquarius thing. Okay. It means more than one person is involved. Because Aquarius represents the group, the gang. Now, the 3rd house is actually where she went missing, in the local environment. The 3rd house is the local environment. Now, Cancer, this is supposed to be a person. Now, Cancer as a person is the mother. And she was last seen with the mother. Cancer is the family. And she was last seen with the family. So we're going to see how this ties in when I pull these charts. This Scorpio thing is death. This Scorpio thing is death. Cajairah Fraise was born January the 14th, 2001. Let me move these up. The sun was in Capricorn and the moon was in Virgo. And y'all know how I formulate time. Time is the sun divided by moon cycles. So when you put a Virgo moon inside of Capricorn's house, which is the 10th house, Sagittarius is rising. See, this is the Virgo moon in Capricorn's house. Sagittarius is rising. Why is Sagittarius rising? We won't know until we pull the chart of the day Cajairah disappeared. Now, Cajairah's birth chart is a 9th house chart because Sagittarius comes first and Sagittarius is the 9th sign of the zodiac. Sagittarius is the energy of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Sagittarius is our energy of experience and exploration and travel, long distance travel. The 9th house is the house of churches, okay? Colleges, institutions of higher knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it is also the house of long distance travels, journeys, hiking, okay? Boats that go across country. Now, in the 9th house, we see Leo. Leo, it represents the child. But Leo also represents romance. Leo also represents creativity and celebration. Now, let's pull the chart of the day she disappears so we can get into these cards. Okay, now even in her birth chart, we're going to get there though. Aquarius is in the 3rd house. This Aquarius thing was in the 3rd house of where all of this stuff happened, right? We're going to get to this Aquarius thing because it's going to make sense. Cajairah disappeared February the 23rd, 2023. On that day, the sun was in Pisces and the moon was in Aries. And when you put an Aries moon in Pisces house, which is the 12th house of the hidden, Taurus is rising. This is a 2nd house chart because Taurus comes first and Taurus is the 2nd sign of the zodiac. Taurus is the energy of money, material. Taurus is the energy of the 5 senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, which those 5 senses were heightened because Cajairah Fraise was 9 months pregnant. Now, why did I say those senses were heightened that day? Because when you look at where Taurus comes from in her chart, it comes from the house of health, which is the 6th house. Cajairah's 6th house, that's Virgo's house, health. So what I'm seeing already is a sickness. Okay, some type of sickness, probably due to her pregnancy. She might have went into labor. When she walked off, if that's what really happened, we seen her on camera, but we don't know whether she walked off because she was in an argument or she walked off because she needed some air, whatever. We don't know what that walk is all about. What we do know is she was on camera walking away from Jack in the Box when her parents said they was all together at the drive-thru in Jack in the Box. Now, if you look at the day she disappeared, look at the cards that came out before I pulled the chart. And even if I spent time with her charts before I started this reading, which I did, I didn't know these cards were going to come out. Energy does not lie. Look what came out. This is where she was last seen. Cancer with her mother. And look what else came out. The third house. That is exactly where she was last seen. With her mother in the local environment. And the day she disappeared, that is the exact alignment. Cancer in the third house. She was with her family in the local environment. Energy don't lie. What happened? What does her mother have to do with this disappearance? Now, this Aquarius thing is in the 10th house. Why is the 10th house so important? Because that is where we placed Cajairah's Virgo moon in the 10th house in order to formulate her birth chart. This is her moon. The moon in Virgo, moon represents the mother and the child. She was pregnant. The moon literally represents fertility, the fertility process of a woman. And Virgo represents her health. And at that time, it was in her health. This phenomenon was a public phenomenon. I see Cajairah got sick during wherever she was walking, and somebody discovered her. And this just wasn't any old body. This was a group of somebody. And this group of somebody stood up for particular things. And these particular things that this group of individuals stood up for was the reason why they committed certain crimes. And now you have gang-related activities, which is what Aquarius energy is all about. And this thing is the reason why they all chipped in to do whatever they did to Cajairah. Now, where her mother comes in at, I'm not sure, but we're going to get down to it. This Scorpio thing, if Aquarius thing is the gang-related activity, then this Scorpio thing is death. Where was this Scorpio thing at? In the 7th house, the day Cajairah disappeared, which is the house of the spouse, the significant other. Somebody that was in partnership or in a relationship with her. To find out whether this was her boyfriend or somebody trying to help her or somebody she met, we got to look at where Libra is and where Virgo is. Because Libra represents the partner and Virgo represents the help. So Libra is right here in Virgo's house. You can't make this up. Libra is right here in Virgo's house. February the 23rd, 2023. So clearly she met up with somebody. Now this was foul play. Somebody that she felt like could help her. I believe Cajairah got sick because her Taurus energy that came first, the day she disappeared, came from her house of health. This was about a health issue too. I feel like she encountered that she had a health issue. She probably went into labor and was at the mercy of people that discovered her. She probably became helpless. I see that in the local environment. But in the third house, because the third house came out, and we got to look at what's going on in the third house of both these charts. Look what's in the third house of both of these charts. Cancer and Aquarius. And look what cards get pulled. Cancer and Aquarius. You cannot make this up. So the answers to what happened to Cajairah Fraise are in these cards and in this alignment. You see, I shuffled the hell out the Astro Oracle, but that's my OG. In situations like this, where there's minimum information. So let's follow this Cancer person, who I believe is the mother. Because when Cancer comes out as a person, this is either the mother or somebody that lives in that local environment. And she's in their house. This person that she was in an interaction with, because the third house is the house of interaction, which is where she was last seen. Through the Oracle and February 23rd, 2023. Look, Cancer right there in the third house. So if this person ain't her mother, this is somebody that lives in that local environment that somehow was able to get Cajairah to come to their house, because Cancer represents the home. And if you look in the fourth house, you'll see Leo, which represents the child. Now, this Scorpio thing. First, let's follow the moon like I said I was going to do. To elaborate on this person, we're going to find out whether this is her mother or not. Because Cancer is the mother. But Cancer is also in the third house, somebody's home in the local environment. Okay? So, the moon that day was in Aries. Where was Aries at? Aries was hiding right here in the 12th house of the hidden. And that is exactly where the moon was that day, like I said. While Cajairah's moon was in Virgo, right here in the house of children. She went into labor that day. Do you see this? Her moon in Virgo, which is the fertility. She went through a health issue that day because her health comes first. It came from Virgo's house of health. And the nature of this health issue involved her going into labor. Somebody was able to get her to their house. That's this person right here. And we need to follow Aries because this person was hiding. And you know how I know they went to her house? Because look where Pisces is at. This is Pisces' house, but Aries is there. Pisces is right there in Aquarius' house. And remember, this is an Aquarius thing. But look where Pisces is at in Cajairah's energy. Right there in the fourth house of home. They took her to their home. You see this? They were hiding. They took her to their home so she can have the child right there in the fourth house. Aquarius thing happened all right there in the local environment. This was a group of people. Now let's follow Mars, because Mars rules Aries. To elaborate on this individual that's hiding that took them to her house. Mars that day was in Gemini, the local environment. Right here. Mars was right here in the person. So this was either somebody, because Mars represents the assassin. Mars represents the pursuit, attack. Mars is our defense mechanism. Why is Mars showing up in this person, which could be the mother? Was somebody trying to attack her mother? What really went on that day? Because if Mars was here in the third house with the family card, that means there was a confrontation going on with the family in that vehicle or wherever they were together. There was a confrontation that went on that day. I clearly see that. Cajairah's Mars is in Scorpio. And where's Scorpio at? Right here in the 7th house. Because, of course, this was a Scorpio thing. Somebody had an intention to kill somebody. Why? Who? Who? Is this Cajairah that wanted to kill somebody? Or was this somebody that wanted to kill Cajairah? What really went down that day? Did they get into an argument? Because I see that. I see that. I see that they got into an argument. Something was brewing behind the scenes. That's why nobody saw it. Because they figured they know how to carry themselves like, oh, everything is all cool. But shit goes on behind the scenes in every family. And you and you know how I know that? Because look where Jupiter is. The reason why I'm following Jupiter is because Sagittarius comes first in Cajairah's chart. So Jupiter was in Aries the day she disappeared. And where was Aries at in her birth chart? Right there in the house of children. Was somebody trying to come for Cajairah's child? What really happened? We are working with the right cards. We just got to figure this thing out. Because I clearly showed you these are the right cards that was pulled. Right on time. Synchronized. Who? Cajairah. Who? Who is involved in your disappearance? I feel like she's dead. I do feel like that. I feel like because that's this Scorpio thing. I feel like she's gone. She's dead. But now we need to find out who. Who is responsible? Cajairah Fraise. Who is responsible? A stranger in the 2nd house. Let's look at what's going on in the 2nd house. Because Aquarius is also the stranger, but it's in the 3rd house. In the 2nd house, we see Gemini. And this is a 2nd house chart. You see that? Energy don't lie. So this stranger is in a local environment because that's where they were. Gemini rules the 3rd house. You see Gemini right there in red? Because the 3rd house is Gemini's house, but Cancer is there. The red represents whose house it is. The black represents who's there. So we know that her mother and her was there. That even came out in the cards. The 3rd house, Cancer. Okay, this is a person there in the 3rd house. This is Gemini's house. But Gemini was in the 2nd house of money. This is Taurus's house. And Taurus came first. This is the house of interaction and travel. So this stranger that came out in the 2nd house was somebody else that Cajairah linked up with in that local environment. A stranger. Why did she link up with a stranger? What happened in the car that Cajairah was in with her father and her mother? What really happened in that car? What? I'm going to pull from my crime deck. This is a crime. This is a crime. Whether it went on in the car or whether it was plotting, somebody threatened somebody. An argument, a confrontation took place. Maybe Cajairah got out to save her life and ran into a stranger that still ended up taking it. Foul play. Gemini is the neighbor. Where was Gemini at in Cajairah's birth energy? Look, right there in the 7th house. That's who did it. That stranger. That stranger that came out in the 2nd house, Gemini, in her energy, the significant other was a stranger in the same house as this Scorpio thing. that I told you was death. This is a crime. Can't trust nobody. What happened, Cajairah? What crime? What is the root crime of this thing? What crime manifested this? Who threatened somebody? Who did what? Something happened. Something happened. Something happened. The second house. Consensual crime. Okay, this is foul play. Because a consensual crime is when, let's say, you agree to get in someone's car, or you'd agree to go somewhere with somebody. Or this probably was about some type of money. Because clearly the consensual crime, and it makes sense. It's in the seventh house is the house of agreements and disagreements, which is where her killer, where she met the killer. Gemini energy in the seventh house and the killer in the seventh house. The third house is Gemini's house, but that's also the stranger in the local environment. That person lives in that local environment. So they're not going to think to look for that person. They're looking for Cajairah. This is a stranger in that local environment. And this was consensual. This could have been somebody that she met. This is somebody that she met in the second house. A consensual crime. The consensual crime is drug use, gambling, prostitution, and a pimp. Look at that. Examples of consensual crime. Drug use, gambling, prostitution, and pimp. Yep. I made this deck, but I always have my templates. I have templates for everything. Even these are templates. So yeah, the consensual crime. I believe that. I believe that. That's why it's foul play. Because it's like, that's like when a prostitute, but she was 9 months pregnant. I mean, I don't think she was prostituting, but something went down to where she ended up in a vehicle with somebody else. Family. Because I want to know who this Cancer person is. I want to know if this is her mother or not. Or if anybody in her family has something to do with this. Because that day they was on their way to their grandmother's house. They spent the day out at the gym. Then they went to get something to eat. Because they was on their way to Cajairah's grandmother's house. Were there any family members that played a role in the disappearance of Cajairah Fraise? Were there any family members that played a significant role in the disappearance that knows what happened and how she disappeared in Cajairah Fraise? A sister. Now, Gemini is the sibling. Now, for the sister to come first, for the sister to come first, this is Taurus energy. Now, Taurus came from the sixth house of health and help. Health and help. I want to make sure y'all understood the difference, because you know sometimes these mics, the words don't always come out distinct. Don't be laughing at my ability to think of the right word. I'm a perfectionist. I try to get it right. So This sister that came out in the first house, could she have a Taurus sister? Could this have been a sister that was helping her? Why did the sister come out? Where was Venus at? Because Taurus was Venus. Venus was in Pisces in Cajairah's chart. And Venus was in Aries the day she disappeared. There's a lot of Aries energy that day that was hiding. Sister. Her sister. So her sister knows something. Her sister knows something. I'm going to pull one more from the Astro Oracle. Cajairah, talk to us. I'm pulling one more card. Does your sister have something to do with this? Cajairah, Fraise. Does your sister have something to do with this? Family. The moon is family. And the moon that day, this is a moon thing. This is the fertility. This is her pregnancy. This is about that child. She went into labor. That day, the moon was in Aries. I tell you, everything keeps leading to Aries. Right there hiding in Pisces' house. What really happened? Were they really at Jack in the Box? Now we know they seen Cajairah on camera, close by. But I wonder if they have proof that they were at Jack in the Box. I'm going to pull another chart. I'm going to pull another chart. I'm going to pull another chart. I believe every card that came out. And I showed you why. Oh, you should believe it by now too. You can't make it up. I believe every single card that went out, that came out. What happened to Cajairah Fraise? Saturn in the 6th house. That's the house of health. This was about her labor. Yep, she went into labor that day. But something happened. When Saturn is in the 6th house, that day Saturn was in Aquarius. Saturn was in Aquarius, this Aquarius thing. When Aquarius is in the 6th house, that's Virgo's house. Guess what comes first? Virgo. That labor. Yep. She went into labor. See Aquarius right there in the 6th house. Saturn is in the 6th house in Aquarius. Now, Saturn is in Aquarius, but Saturn is ruled by Capricorn. Where's Capricorn at? Right there in the house of children. This is the father of the child. But where does her sister come in at? Where's Gemini? Because Gemini represents the sibling. Right there in the 10th house. All the energies in the 10th house have a lot to do with what goes on in the crime. So if you look at all 10th houses, this 10th house you see the sister, the sibling. But Gemini is also the local environment, the neighbor. Now in Cajairah's 10th house, you see her pregnancy, Virgo, moon in Virgo. And remember, this was a moon thing. The moon thing is her pregnancy with the child. Remember, I told you in the beginning, this is fertility. Virgo moon represents the health of fertility. Now, in the 10th house, the day that Cajairah disappeared, you see Aquarius. Saturn, which is the planet that came out, is in Aquarius. And it came out in the 6th house of the oracle chart. Virgo's house, which is the house of this health issue. And Virgo comes first. Her actual pregnancy comes first. Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. Mercury rules the practical application of Virgo, and it rules the travel, informative, interactive, communicative aspect of Gemini. So could this have been a phone call to her sister? Her sister has information. Whoever her sister is. I don't even know how many siblings she got. I think I heard it on one of the podcasts, but I'm not sure. But she got siblings. Now, what's going on in the 3rd house of this chart? Scorpio. Remember that Scorpio thing that took place? Was she in the hit and run? She could have been. Where's Cancer at? This person. Where's Cancer at? Right here in the 11th house. That's Aquarius's house. That's Aquarius's house right there. Why is this person that came from the 3rd house the day Cajairah disappeared, which also we know this 3rd house is very prominent because it also came out in the cards. This is somebody's house that she was at in that local environment. And I believe this is a family member that lives in that area of Beaumont, in that house. And the 3rd house is the house of siblings. And the sister came out. Now, in Cajairah's house of death, the 8th house, look what you see, Cancer. This person, if Cajairah is dead, this person is the one that did it. This is a family member. I feel like Cancer is the family. Now, this could be the person in that local environment whose house she's in, but I believe this person is her family. This is somebody's sister, the mother's sister or the grandmother's sister, because Jupiter, Sagittarius, is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter, Sagittarius, rules the 9th house. The 9th house is the house of grandparents. And they were on their way to her grandmother's house. But Jupiter in Cajairah's chart is in Gemini. This is a family member. that's responsible for her disappearance and her possible death. Right there. And whoever she was with in that local environment. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. The moon was in Aries. And look where Aries is at in the oracle chart, the house of death. Death. She is dead. I felt like that the whole time. And in the house of death, the day Cajairah disappeared, look, you see her Sagittarius. That's her chart. She's dead. See that, right? That's what came first in her birth. I believe that she got sick. I believe she got sick and she became helpless at the mercy of people who she thought was going to help her, but she met with foul play. Now, I believe that her family knows more than what they are saying. Even the story don't sound right. I believe every last one of these cards that came out, and I showed y'all why. I believe these cards more than that story about them being that Jack in the Box and her getting out the car and walking. But they got her on camera. I don't know how far the camera was from Jack in the Box, but I know it wasn't at Jack in the Box. That parking lot she was in was close by. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below. I don't know if I'm going to do a part 2. I'll see where my spirit goes. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Y'all be blessed. That's my reading on Cajairah Fraise. That's how I pronounce it at first. But looking at the podcast, they pronounce it Fraise. Cajairah Fraise. And may she rest in peace, because I know she's gone. Her and that baby. I'm not sure if the baby's gone, but I believe the baby is gone. This is a sad case. Y'all be blessed.